I thought I was selling our websites for a lot of money because I had been gradually selling them for more and more and more every time. I'd already been at a point where like I wasn't working on anything I didn't want to work on. So I can go back now and look at everything I was doing 2 years plus ago and be like, oh, I actually didn't want to work on that thing. It just seemed like I did because it wasn't overtly terrible, but it also wasn't necessarily super fulfilling to work on either. Over the course of like the 6 to 8 months that we worked together, you were kind of battling some of these preconceived notions I had about what the ceiling was or what the cap was for what people were able to buy for some of this stuff. Because keep in mind, when I like left my last agency to start Old Speak like 7 years ago, that was entirely a creative freedom endeavor. I was tired of being put in situations where I didn't have control over the outcome of the thing that I could control. And I thought, I'll just start a business and I'll be able to avoid all of that stuff because it'll be a creative led business. Meanwhile, reality hits you in the face like a ton of bricks. I didn't really know because I didn't have the business perspective just how much some of these people were paying for some of these things. Like I thought that whenever we were charging $20,000 for a website, I'm over here thinking, who's paying that kind of money for a website? And
Mhm.
just 2 years later, I feel the exact same way about what we're charging, which is like maybe triple that. I don't feel like I see the ceiling. And I feel like that's what you helped us with the most is being able to like see the value through the lens of these like high profile buyers, these high ticket buyers. Is it going to accomplish these high level objectives that the company has? And what are those high level objectives? Those details have done more for us being able to raise our prices for doing honestly the same amount of work, I guess, than pretty much any other thing that we've been able to do. From a commercial perspective, being able to hit our break even point before Q3 is over has been a big deal. You know what I mean? Because now we have a whole quarter full of stuff that pipeline we've already filled up that we can reinvest into all kinds of different things in our company. So I think that that's a pretty big deal. I also think that being able to confidently speak about price among high level buyers like in the same room as them and not feel like a fraud. Whenever we first started connecting, I had a lot of extra baggage, if you will, from growing up in a scarce resource kind of environment. And I had that scarcity mindset that I brought with me. And I don't feel like I really have that at all anymore. So that's a big deal, like psychologically. It's
So,
also been really cool to be able to like just say a price and just sit back, and just let the space around you happen, which is another technique that, I think that you helped us kind of hone in on like, but you're helping us like connect these dots, so to speak. I already knew that that was a thing that you could do, but I didn't know how. Like somebody told me you could do it. I didn't know how. You told us how. And so then you go out and do it and you realize, oh, that's actually pretty easy. For example, okay, so I've only ever traded deliverables for money. I'm charging $1,000 for a meeting. And I was able to do that. And that was pretty cool. And they all found it valuable. That's only 4 grand, but it only took me 3.5, 4 hours to make. We've had a couple projects be in like the 70s, the mid 70s range. Those are kind of strategic moves for us to be able to build a portfolio saying we can do those things. We don't have to rely on these other agencies to get that kind of work. And then I think that some stuff that we used to think would be like, oh, we'll just get this done in a couple of weeks, no big deal. And we charge a couple of weeks worth of time for it. Some of those projects are getting tripled. I feel like just a general higher level of confidence among people who aren't necessarily like me. Being able to go into a room full of people who don't have a design background, I don't have to like look up to them. They're not on some kind of pedestal to me. I don't even know how if you could quantify how valuable that is. Like, for a lot of people, like that could be the very thing that makes them quit. And I don't feel like I have that obstacle anymore. And I totally had it. Like I for sure had that obstacle so bad, and I don't have it at all anymore. The confidence that I feel right now, I feel like is almost overwhelming.